Hey, this is Anna, and this is Building with Buyers, a show that explores one core idea: how customers help companies grow. I talk a lot about buyers and customers, and marketing and growth, and honestly, whatever else is on my mind, because there's a lot going on, but only a few things that are really important. So let's get to it. It has been a while since I posted an episode, and maybe because it's, summertime, lots going on, kids at camp, kids not at camp, sleepaway camp. There's just too much. And I love it all. I'm not complaining here, but I did want to, I'm here because I have something to say. I'm trying to make these episodes, if there is something rich and unique and interesting. So this is not a podcast where I post once a week just because I post once a week, right? If there is something that is important to talk about right now, that's when I'm posting. It might take a couple weeks. It might take a few weeks, but I'm here and I'm posting. It just may not be one of those once a week shows. And it was back in the day when it was called Modern Startup Marketing. Anyways, we're here building with buyers. I'm here, you're listening, and I have something I wanted to talk about. So very recently, a few days ago, I posted something and it was about how the PMM role, product marketing, is under a lot of pressure. And I'm seeing this with full-time folks. I talk to product marketers. I talk to VPs of marketing and CMOs. I just did that one research report where I talked to 18 heads of marketing, VPs of marketing, CMOs, and that was part of the conversation. But just a lot of the conversations now are around how the marketing role is under pressure and specifically how the product marketing role is under a lot of pressure. And I'm extremely interested in this topic, obviously, because I am a fractional product marketer. So I posted about it, and I think the best way to talk about it here on the show is just to read the thing that I wrote about, and maybe I'll add in a little bit more commentary. Just bear with me. It's the first time I'm just rehashing an idea that I put out on LinkedIn, and then suddenly so much commotion around it and so much engagement around it. So I knew that I was onto something and I wanted to share it here. So VPs of marketing and CMOs are being asked to do more with less. Probably not a surprise to the listener, right? Fewer headcount approvals, leaner teams, tighter budgets, and the PMM is often the first place that gets squeezed, product marketing. Instead of hiring a full-time PMM, companies are asking their existing team to absorb the work, or they might bring in a fractional like myself, right? I work with clients. Or they just don't do it and unfortunately wonder later why their go-to-market feels off. At the same time, the scope of what product marketers are expected to own has exploded. I know this because I'm seeing, job descriptions, and I'm seeing the expectations that clients have as well from what I'm able to do. Positioning, messaging, sales enablement, competitive intelligence, content strategy, analyst relations, product launches, and a lot more. And now there's AI that sits on top of it all, which hasn't lowered the pressure to produce more faster. So my take is that we're at a really important inflection point for this role. So yes, teams are leaner, expectations are higher, but a strategic product marketer, PMM, who figures out the right AI tools can now do what used to take a whole team. And I'm labeling this person, I'm calling this a SuperPMM. A SuperPMM isn't a thinker who hands work off for someone else to execute. They think strategically, yes, we always had to, right? Positioning, messaging, go-to-market, that's all very strategic things. But then they also execute from that strategy and fast because they've got tools that do the heavy lifting. So let me just, for example, explain from my end how I execute from strategy. So I'm using AHA PMM, which is a tool that I built, and it does the customer research synthesis that used to take days with the work that I did, back when I started my company. And it actually surfaces what matters because it's scored on dimensions that matter. So it's not just rounding up patterns, which a lot of customer research tools, buyer research tools do. It's giving a score based on different dimensions that go beyond just finding patterns. For example, like things that are surprising, things that are emotional that come up during conversations. So that's one tool that I use. Mojo PMM builds the messaging infrastructure, and it's the custom assistant that makes content creation fun and on point. I am a big fan of Mojo and have been using it with clients, and I'm finding that it is helpful. And especially as things get more complex, your messaging gets more complex, your use cases, your personas, the things you want to say, specific verticals. It's amazing to have an infrastructure that helps you create content that's actually on point. Claude and Figma, using that for creative asset variations. And then Claude plus Vector is another two tools that communicate well with each other. So Claude and Vector for landing pages in a fraction of the time. But this is important. So all these tools, these are like tools that I use on a consistent basis and more often than not. But someone still has to catch it when the AI gets it wrong, because it does sometimes, right? I mean, it might technically look fine, but it's still off. And that is really important. Just, for example, going through the messaging canvas, I need to see that the words and the sentences actually do make sense, because if you don't have that, in your infrastructure, if you don't have the right words and sentences and even the images, then it doesn't matter how much new content you create. It's going to be technically fine. Sounds okay, right? But it's still off. And so that makes it wrong. And so the draft that reads right, but doesn't sound like you, or nails the structure, but misses the one thing that this specific buyer actually cares about. So execution has been democratized, but judgment has not. And I think that the PMMs who build themselves into these super PMMs, which is the term I'm using, it's the strategist, it's the director of the tools, and the one who catches it when the tools get it wrong. These super PMMs are the ones who thrive instead of getting squeezed out. And so this was the essence of the post, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about this, even people that didn't really, comment on it. In the background, you don't see this, but there's a lot of followers that came from this post. There's a lot of connection requests that came from this post. I think people are really trying to figure out, where is product marketing heading and how does it fit into the marketing department as a whole, and where the marketing department is heading, and what CMOs and VPs of marketing are thinking about and worried about and trying to figure out these days. So I wanted to share that with you. And as always, I'm here if you have any thoughts on this. Would love to hear from you. Maybe you agree with this, how the role is changing. Maybe you want to change the way I'm calling it, not a super PMM, but something else. Reach out, let me know. Would love to hear from you.